Why, hello there YouTube and welcome to a Revolting review. I'm Random Ross and today I'm reviewing Being Human Series 1. Around the start of the year I do want to get into reviewing more than just horror movies but horror TV shows, and I find this is a good fit for it. So Being Human, this series 1, is about a vampire named Mitchell, a werewolf named George, and a ghost called Annie, who all live in a house together in Bristol. So this is a supernatural comedy drama, and it focuses on three of those supernatural beings living together in peace and quiet and harmony. So this aired in 2009. There was a pilot episode that did air for one night only on BBC Three in 2008, and that got so much buzz that they permitted a full series. So in 2009 it returned for a 6-part series, and in this it follows the daily lives of the three, trying the best they can to fit in and be human. So each character has their own problem going on. You know, Annie, the ghost, she is, you know, a 20-something ghost who, well, at the beginning of the series we think she fell down the stairs and cracked her head open, because that's what we're to believe. But then in the series she discovers that her fiance, who was a violent man, spoiler alert, killed her and pushed her down the stairs. After the first part of the series we think he's a sweet guy that misses his fiance and that she fell tragically, and she still loves him and wants to be with him still, even though she's a ghost and no one can see her or feel her other than George and Mitchell. So humans can't see ghosts, but supernatural beings can, such as vampires and werewolves, but not plain humans unless they're mediums. And after she discovers this, she finds that, you know, she wants vengeance and to frighten her evil ex-fiance. But even when he discovers that she's a ghost and for some reason she can be seen by him, he's not scared of her, because he still has power. He still feels the power over her, and, you know, just goes out even more, revealing nasty things and doing terrible things still. But after, you know, all three of them come together and put the frighteners on him, he gets scared off, and Annie's unfinished business is finished. So that's what her story arc in it. It follows like 3 different story arcs, this first series. Then we go to the werewolf, George, who is the one who should have died but didn't die. He's a bit of an outcast himself. Even in his human life he was a bit of a nerd. He, you know, and still is a nerd, and, you know, and is a bit socially awkward. And then when he gets attacked by a werewolf and is cursed, where he transforms once a month, you know, and in the mythos of this one it's once a month, yeah, he transforms into a werewolf. But that's just a 1-month thing. Other than that, he's kind of a regular human. And he just basically wants to, like, have things that a regular person have, like have mates, even a girlfriend, which he does get in the series. He gets a nice woman, and, you know, in the end he falls for her, but then she discovers his secret, and when he pushes her out of the way, he scratches her, and she then is cursed, and that leaves things open for the second series. Then we go to the vampire Mitchell, who finds it even harder to be human. He's a 117-year-old vampire that's fought in World War I and was turned, and for a long while he loved the vampire days, he loved feeding blood, but then his inner human side starts to resurface, and also he's finding it hard to resist the taste of human blood. Now in this mythos of vampires in being human, drinking blood is just a drug addiction for vampires. It's like, you know, like what heroin is to a heroin addict, blood to him is an addiction, a drug, and he has to try and kick it every time. And basically what he does is he gives into his temptation when on a date and turns a young woman, and she ends up taunting him throughout the series, telling him he can't run from his responsibilities for what he did to her. Whilst there's also a mob of vampires that want him to come back and be in their mob and turn people or what have you, but he doesn't want to, he wants to be human. But in one episode he does, you know, he does turn a boy into a vampire because his mother can't bear to live without him, and she knows about it all. There's an episode where a misunderstanding goes on and the boy in it, he accidentally gets killed, and Mitchell offers to turn him so that she can keep her son even though he's a vampire. But that's never picked up on again. And he does go back to his clan. He does, but he finds that it's all different and it's voluntary now and no one's forced to do anything and it's different, but he discovers that that's a lie. So then this vampire, the leader of his clan, Herrick, who was also his maker, you know, tries being reasonable, but then he ends up going to, then he goes to fight Mitchell, and he's an older, stronger vampire. But of course, he gets lured into a trap by the werewolf George, and George kills him on one full moon. And then basically, they then just go back to living their as possible normal lives. Until the end of the series, when an old man named Reverend Kemp knows of these creatures, and he phones up some professor and tells him that he's found them. And then that's left open for series 2, so he becomes the next antagonist for series 2. So yeah, let's get on to my likes and dislikes. I've given you enough about the plot of the series and the story arc, so let's get on to the likes. So I liked this. I really did. I used to love this show. I remember watching it every Sunday night on BBC Three. Now there is a US version of this show, but I don't think of it as a US remake. I think of it as the show being human, but I think of it as, you know, the show that's in the same universe as the British being human. Because yeah, it follows a vampire werewolf and ghosts living in a house, but they don't exactly have the same names as our protagonists in it. So that's why I like to think of it as a, you know, a show in the same universe, but only in America. So yeah, this first series, it follows them in Bristol, and yeah, and I like the setting of this. I also like the premise. I'd never seen anything like this done before, except for in cartoons. A vampire, a werewolf and a ghost, and I love the friendship between George and Mitchell. It's like George, you know, like supports Mitchell, helps him through his difficult time being addicted to blood, and during the full moon, Mitchell keeps an eye out for him and makes sure he's locked away and contained during that time of the month. So they're good friends looking out for each other. And they met after George got beaten up by a gang of vampires in his clan, and that's when his human part was showing. And yeah, they become good friends and they end up living in a house together, which they rent and is owned by their landlord, who is Annie's evil fiance who killed her. I also like the character of Annie. She's got her own thing going on, and she does this whole routine of cleaning the house, making tea and hot chocolate and coffees, and she finds that keeps her sane every day and stops from going nuts, which, I mean, okay, whatever keeps you happy. And it does keep her happy, and, you know, but also halfway into the series when she finds out the truth, she does become a poltergeist, and she then eventually puts her poltergeist abilities to good use, and, you know, just looks out for people even though they can't see her. She does befriend one ghost in it from the 80s, an 80s ghost, and she helps him finish his unfinished business, and then he crosses over. And she's just, you know, a friendly ghost. There is another episode, episode 2, where they meet another werewolf named Tully, played by Dean Lennox Kelly. By the way, this stars Lenora Critchlow as the ghost Annie, and Russell Tovey as the werewolf George, and Aidan Turner as the vampire Mitchell. And they just, they become good friends. Tully teaches George to be a better werewolf and how to boost his confidence when he then makes the discovery that Tully is the wolf that cursed him and he didn't want to be a werewolf. And he loved being a werewolf, but he didn't. But he taught him how to love and accept himself, which he does. So there's a lot of good twists in there. There's a lot of good comedy and a lot of good drama in there too. And a lot of good horror elements as well. Especially the main antagonist for the series, Herrick, who is the leader of Mitchell's vampire clan, who poses as a police officer and also a funeral director. And they use the funeral service to recruit and turn other people that are ill into vampires. Yeah, so I liked this. I liked the villains and the heroes. This just had a lot of good comedy and drama in there, and the comedy, it started off with the comedy in there, but as the series progressed, it got more bleaker and more serious and became more like a low budget supernatural drama. And I think the low budget really does work. It really does work for the show, because they have a lot of practical effects in that, especially with the werewolf transformation. I like the transformation from the werewolf, because it's basically the same kind of effects they use for an American Werewolf in London. And I like to think that the creator of the show, Toby Whithouse, got inspiration for that from that movie, the way we see him transform. And the werewolf, we don't really see the werewolf much in the first few episodes, but then in the second episode we get a good full look at him, and it's exactly what I look for in a werewolf. Standing up on all two legs, big grey hairy body, a wolf head. To me, that is what a werewolf should be, and he only transforms one night a month. Yeah, and the storyline in this is good, and the whole story arc of the series, and the writing is just brilliant. I really love the writing for this series, and there were 6 episodes in this, and yeah. And it weren't long before it was set for a second series. So, Being Human Series 1. My dislikes. Do I have anything to dislike about this? I guess there were the few episodes where there was some boring filler in there, but not too many, not too boring. Like I said, there's 6 episodes in this first series, so it's pretty fast paced. Each episode is an hour long, and like I said, very fast paced. It's not slow at all. So yeah. Being Human Series 1, the UK version. I think I'll give this one, I think I'll give Being Human Series 1, you know what, I'll give it 4 machetes out of 5, because I really did enjoy the first series of it. I got it on DVD, I've rewatched it a couple times, and this is all on Netflix. It's definitely on UK Netflix. I don't know about Netflix where else you are in the world, but it is on there. All 5 series. So yeah. That has been my Revolting review for Being Human Series 1. Have you seen this one? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to share with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see some new stuff. You want to see more stuff from me. So yeah, hope everyone's staying safe out there and, taking care. I've been Random Ross, this has been a Revolting review, and until next time, don't have nightmares.